Well, good afternoon. Coach Fryer, we have here. I want to welcome everyone to the Leader Lowdown. My name is Joan Robison, and I'm so grateful to have Coach Brian Fryer with us today. I was just at the Robsbury event, and Brian and I were sitting a couple seats away from each other, and we were texting each other, hey, is this time work? How's this going to go? And blah, blah, blah. And boy, I just love you, Brian. I love what you bring to our industry, and your expertise and commitment to people is, it's really what it's all about. And I just want to thank you for everything that you've done, not only for me, for my team, but for our entire industry. And it's so easy to see why you are such a sought after coach, and you have done all the work around really deep diving into social media. And so many of us have our businesses on social, and we love that whole working from our phone. So maybe tell us just a little bit about you and kind of what really drove this whole thing, because I know this isn't exactly where you started.
Yeah, John, it's an honor to be invited here on the Leader Lowdown. I appreciate you so much. Getting to know you better over the last couple of years. I mean, we've literally traveled the world together, John. I mean, it's been so cool. Not only our friendship, our business partnerships, but even just how close you've become with my amazing wife, Danny. And so we consider you family, and just excited to be here, included on the Leader Lowdown, and thankful for all you do and continue to do for those around you and in our profession. As far as the whole social media and a little bit of the backstory with us, I mean, I've been in the network marketing space a little over 15 years now, 9 years in the field, and 6 years as a generic social media and business coach. And gosh, it's been a wild ride. But I think the coolest part about all of this is that I always say that we're in the people business, and really, learning, understanding how to connect with people, how to serve them, how to show up, how to help them, how to support them, how to inspire them, how to encourage them. I mean, I could go down the line here. You and I are big fans of having servant hearts and helping people. And so, grateful for all that you and I get to do.
Yeah. Well, I certainly am. And meaning, I'm certainly grateful that, we've been able to connect. And I think so much of the time when you're like minded and, you really attract to people that you see are similar to you when it comes to values. And I know that my success has always been about focusing on others, because losing, well, how do I say this? Often when we get into places, especially when it comes to our topic today, which is really becoming a powerful connector, when we get into places of fear, and then we become this person that either doesn't reach out, or the fear gets the best of us, and we're feeling awkward, or we're just insecure, we're in limiting beliefs and self-doubt, it actually holds us back from serving. And oftentimes the very person that needs it, we're not there for because of our own fear and self-focus. And I do know that both you and I have admittedly had all kinds of fears, whether it was, speaking on a stage, or I loved some of your past videos that you showed. You're like, and gosh, I mean, to me, even when I see that, Brian, it makes me go, there's hope for me, right? It's like if somebody else can see that we both have had a lot of those same things and had to push through and overcome. I think that it really does empower and inspire people to get just a little bit better, because that's all we're really doing, right? We're just
Yeah, yeah.
practicing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the fear of what others are going to think, I think, is at the top of the fear list of most people. And that's the reason why They choose not to move forward in whatever that might be. They choose not to reach out to that one new Facebook friend or follower and have a conversation. They choose not to do that Facebook Live because of the fear of what other people are going to think. They choose not to take that speaking engagement, right? Because they're fearful of being able to make an impact and serve the folks in that room. But you and I both know that someone's potential success lies on the other side of them not going under, trying to go around or trying to climb over, but going right through those fears. You and I mean, we could probably talk into the thousands of fears that not only we have had, but more importantly, that you and I continue to face.
Right.
It's not how can I avoid? It's how can I work through? And I think that's what most people don't understand, is they try to skirt around fear, when the reality is that in order to achieve that next level of growth, that next level of success, to help that next number or amount of people, we have to hit fear right smack dab head on, and just worry about the rest later.
Yeah. Well, and that just also reminds me, I know for me that I had more fear than probably most people. And I even had sales experience, but I remember there was a turning point when I realized that I was so self-consumed, so worried about, what people were going to think, or, just what if I didn't have the words right? What if I sounded awkward? That there came a point where I was literally in prayer one morning and I was like, please help me. And I remember feeling this feeling like, why don't you just focus on what someone else needs? Why don't you just be yourself and be that servant heart, that helper, that person that's curious about how you could help someone else? And that was the beginning of really transforming my own fears in losing myself and then just getting out of myself to focus on others. So,
Yeah.
all right, Brian. Hey, I want to do this real quick. Let's take a moment and draw a card. And in the meantime, why don't you go ahead and drop in the comments where you're tuning in from? We would love to see that. We're going to draw an Ignite the Light card.
Woo-hoo.
We'll kick off our leader lowdown with the Ignite the Light card, and here we go. Oh, this is a good one. Come on, I like this. I don't draw this one often, so we must need to share this out. Choose to be happy, card number 23. Today, I will choose happiness. I will remind myself that each day I get to choose. I know that my life's greatest joys are found deep within my heart. I will take steps to engage in the things that make me feel happy, and I will choose to be with the people that light me up. Flip the switch from feeling as though you have no choices to filling your heart with happiness. Listen to your heart. How's that speak to you, Coach?
So good. So good. I always say, I got this little thing behind me on my desk, the word impact. And it's this thing I've been saying for years now, is that impact is a decision, right? Leadership is a decision. Creating success is a decision. And in that card you just drew, happiness is a decision, right? I think that's the beautiful things about life and in business, is that we have the opportunity to choose and how we're going to show up.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And remembering back in the day for me, I didn't, I used to let all the outside circumstances dictate the way I felt. If I woke up and it was rainy, maybe it was like, oh, it's not going to be such a great day. Or maybe, something happened with me and one of my kids or my husband or who knows. And I kind of, oh, well, this happened. And so now, and I've learned through practice that those things are still going to happen. The weather's still going to change every day. The sun is still going to rise. It's still going to set, but I get to choose my state of well-being. And I think that we can all do that and be better for it. So let's dig right in though, Brian, to connecting. And I know actually this coming Monday, you have a free masterclass really that talks about the cold market and how to attract that. And I thought, well, gosh, today we're talking all about connecting and how that's really going to elevate your recruiting skills. So I thought, who better than Coach Fryer to give us some really great tips on connecting through social media when, maybe a lot of people listening in are feeling like that cold market is their warm market is sort of exhausted. And you and I both know that's really not the case, but give us some tips on connecting.
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes or a lot of times folks out there in business are a little intimidated with social media to some extent or another. But the reality is, whether we're building a business online or offline, like, people are at the center of what we're doing, right? I've always laughed, Joan, about this this saying about how, our products sell themselves, or, our service sells itself. And I'm like, no, you're wrong, actually, right? Products don't sell themselves, people do, right? Okay.
Right.
And so I think, understanding the power of social media and the ability that you and I and everybody else tuning in has at the ability, at our fingertips to literally connect with people all around the world. I view social media as a massive, massive gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to show up on social media every single day. I get to. Same thing applies when it comes to meeting new people, reaching out, having conversations with potential friends, potential followers. I don't have to, but I get to, right? One of my favorite books, John, I literally had it sitting right here on my desk as we were getting going. I looked over it. I'm like, how perfect the timing is this, that this is one of my all-time favorite books. And we're talking about connecting with people. The book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorites. This book looks like it's been through the absolute ringer, by the way, because I've read it a gazillion times. But, I actually love one of the formulas he shares in here, right? I'll just give you the first two steps of his formula. Number one, when connecting with people, he says to always use their name.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So whether it's a brand new friend or follower on social media, instead of saying, hey, friend, hey there, or whatever, like, it's hey, Joan, right? Like, how much more personalized is this conversation going to feel to that new connection, regardless? And then step two in the book he always shares is to then give them a genuine compliment, right? I think, we're all humans. We all love a good old genuine old fashioned comment, right? It just kind of immediately lifts our spirits internally and it shows externally. And so, when it comes to connecting on social media, just those two quick thoughts can immediately increase, right? Friendships and connections.
Yeah. It's so funny. I was just on a call before this call, and we were literally talking about reach outs. And we were talking about the fact that how do you really utilize every single bit of a post, a reel, a story, and really realize that if somebody has given you a like, a love, a heart, a comment, or even just looked at it, that is your invitation to follow up. And there's ways that you can do that by using their name. I always like to say things like, hey, Sarah, it's Joan. I noticed you, blah, 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 commenting maybe on this and just being direct. I like kind of the direct way of just saying, were you just being kind, or did you have a little bit of interest in what I'm doing? Or what you just said around complimenting people, taking a moment or two and going and looking at their Facebook page. It takes like 30 seconds. What do you see that you could sincerely offer as, a compliment to that person? I mean, it could be anything. And I think these two things that you just mentioned, they're huge. And if you think about it, people love, like you said, to be called by their first name. It shows that they're not just a number. The other thing is recognizing something about them, it makes them feel good right away. So that actually draws you closer to the person. To me, when I think about connecting and if I feel spammy, it's because I haven't made some kind of genuine connection. And I think people, they get so kind of like, I don't want to be spammy. I don't want to be salesy. Then freaking don't, right?
Amen.
Find a
Yeah,
way.
I think that thought creeps into a lot of people's minds because they reach out to a new friend or follower online, for example, with the intent of how am I going to weave my product or business into this conversation versus
Yeah,
genuinely having an interest in just connecting with that person.
right. I think Eric Worre said this, and I was in one of his trainings years back, and it always stuck with me, is he said, we're in the business of collecting friends. So I love that you shared that, Brian, because take the end result, the sale, out of it. Oh, and by the way, in fact, a chapter in my book is, as I hit myself in the head, is what it, now I can't even remember here, as I have a heart for people and the sale will follow. So
Yes.
it really all ties into being interested in people, making a true connection with not having the sale in mind, right? And just focus on connecting. That word connecting means moving closer to, right?
Totally. You and I, Joan, just came back from an amazing event this last weekend in Utah. And I think that you and I would both agree that one of the best connectors you and I know is our good friend, Rob Sperry. I think, to look at Rob and what he's been able to accomplish as a distributor in the network marketing space and now as a coach and a mentor to thousands around the world. I always give him the utmost gratitude and praise of him being one of the best connectors I know. There's zero intent for him to, try to make a quick buck or, generate acquire a quick client or whatever. He has more interest in being that incredible connector, being a friend first, and it's obviously opened up some incredible opportunities for him over the years.
Yeah. I was going to say there's one thing, I don't even know if I've ever told Rob this, but I recognize this about him at his events. Well, I mean, obviously, because that's where I'm mostly around him. But, when he's talking to somebody, and I'll be the first one to admit, sometimes if there's a couple people waiting to talk to me, I'll kind of give like an eye or a little bit of a, like, I'll be right there. Yeah. Ooh. And one of the things that I've worked on is not doing that anymore
Yeah,
because I noticed that our friend Rob, he's right here with you. Like those people can wait or they can come back. Right now, I'm talking to this person, no distraction. And he does it just laser focused. And I'm sure that that is intentional because he wants to give that person 100% attention. And
totally. And think about on the receiving end, that other person in how valued they feel in that moment. Could be a 5-second conversation, a 2-minute conversation, but having someone's undivided attention, I think is extremely powerful in the world of connecting and all of us striving to become better connectors.
that's true. And one of the things also for some of you listening in, and you may feel this way, you might feel a little bit more insecure to reach out. If you've ever felt that way, put a heart in the comments. Well, I want to know who you are. And just being, sometimes just putting it out there and just admitting, like, yeah, it's a tough thing for me. I love that Rob shares that he's a really introverted guy. And when he started doing a lot of this stuff, just like you, Brian, it's like we look at other people and we think, well, that's the way maybe that we ought to be. And that's not the way we ought to be. We ought to be the best versions of ourselves. And you, whoever is listening, right? All of you listening, you are exactly what the world needs. You were created for a specific purpose. And one thing I believe in, and I also heard Eric Worre say this, he's an introverted guy. So introverted folks can connect just the same and be super confident that being interested in that other person and being intentional is going to create more than being transactional. And Brian, that's actually something I want to talk to you about, because I
Sure.
kind of feel like God right now is probably kind of going a little bit up there at us, because we did the whole COVID thing and everybody kind of went, right? They kind of went under, right? Kind of,
Into hiding.
into hiding. Yeah. Went underground. But yeah, went kind of into hiding. And what I kind of see is a lot of business became a little bit more transactional, and business might have come a little bit easier because a lot of places weren't, we weren't shopping the way we are. But now we've had another, I believe, pendulum swing, because in a lot of the conversations that I've had, and I know this is true for you too, people are kind of like missing connection, and they're all of a sudden going like, geez, people aren't responding to me the way they did before. So transactional kind of, we're not Amazon in network marketing. And I mean, I had someone kind of come head to head and go, well, Amazon, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, but Amazon is a transactional place to go buy products. You're not expecting service per se. But network marketing is based on relationship. So talk a little bit about that, Coach. Tell the group a little bit more.
No, I'm actually really glad that you brought this up, because I too sensed that, right? During a few years back when the world's on lockdown, things became very transactional. But as we emerged out of that situation, what you and I both noticed is that because of all that, and maybe not seeing as many people as we normally did, not being able to connect with as many people as we typically did, that left all of us as humans yearning and starving for more intimate, genuine connection. And so I literally think that we are still right smack dab in the middle of that feeling right now. And no matter what your product, your service, your coaching business, whatever it is out there that you guys are marketing, I think that if we think back to this whole scenario, that it's not just about transaction, right? I think I've been, some of my mentors early on, John, they call this a relational business, right? Not a transactional. And I want to say one more quick thing in regards to the whole Amazon conversation that you just mentioned. I've been saying this for since I started 11, 12 years ago on something like Facebook, right? Is that Amazon, we as consumers go to Amazon with the intent to do what? To just log on and buy something. It is a transactional platform. We go there, right, John? With credit card in hand, or if you're like most of us, it's already preloaded in there, right? Because we're ready to just get on there, add to cart, and we're out of there. Versus something like Facebook, for example, or Instagram, right? These are social platforms. They're not transactional platforms. And being network marketers or coaches or whatever it is out there, we have to keep this at the forefront of our mind if we truly want to help more people and get our product, our service, our support, our encouragement and mentorship to help more folks.
Yeah. Brian, I know we have just a few minutes left with you. 6. No.
We're good. Yeah.
I just am looking at the time because I so love having you here, and I know everybody's appreciating all of your wisdom and expertise, but I want to share a little bit, or I want you to share a little bit around, kind of coming from that place of maybe your business got a little transactional. Brian, what would you suggest that somebody does right now if you're kind of, maybe you're not seeing as much interaction, maybe you're feeling a little bit awkward because the way you did it just even 3-4 months ago, it's kind of not, converting the same, or, people aren't responding. What are some of the just quick things that you would say, hey, these are some things that you want to make sure that you are doing?
Yeah, I think especially over the last few years on social media, people got accustomed to, let's call it just doing a live video and then not going back and interacting, right? Maybe creating a reel and then not actually engaging with their folks. Heck, just making a social media post in general, and just expecting the engagement to come through. and not circling back around and interacting. I think something as simple as that. I had someone ask me the other day, Joan, they're like, hey, Coach Fryer, when you make a post, like, do you sit there and hang around for like a few minutes to comment and interact with the folks who are engaging with you? Or is that something you don't even, bother with as many followers you have nowadays? I'm like, no. Every time I put out a piece of content, I do my very best to take the next 5 to 10 minutes and stay on the platform so that, when there is engagement, then I can immediately go in there and interact. But then, of course, I don't want to sit there and stare at my phone all day for hours. Like,
Right.
I've got stuff to do, but I make it a point, let's call it 2 or 3 times throughout the day, to circle back and continue that conversation, with those folks. I think one other additional thing you mentioned earlier, I'd love to key off of this, is that every person that likes a post or comments a post, I mean, for me, that's an invitation. That's them supporting you and an opportunity for you to now not just say, yay, I got 20 likes, but to take it a step further and say, my gosh, this is a door that's opened wide for me to now reach out and just connect with these 20 folks. It could be business related, doesn't have to be. It could just be, hey, Joan, I just want to reach out and just say thanks so much for the love, for the support on my last post. I love some of the pictures you posted this last weekend of being in Utah. Hope the event was great. I know you probably smashed it on stage. Like, just something that simple is going to mean so much to that other person. And really, it's going to be a signature way of you intentionally showing how much you truly care.
Yeah. Well, I know, again, Brian, I know you've got to get going. You've got your own master call or leader call coming right up. But what I wanted to make mention is, guys, I can honestly say I am definitely a buyer. I am a buyer. And I'm also loyal to somebody that takes good care of me. And I want to share this because this comes to mind to me a lot. And I resell myself on this all the time. I believe that right now, 2023 and going forward, possibly for the next couple years, and who knows, but the people that focus on building connections, building relationships, and really have the heart for people, intentional, like, I'm going to take care of, I don't care if I have 5, 10, 20, I'm going to take care of these folks, not smother them, but I'm going to take care of them. That's going to be the difference between people that are winning and people that don't. And I'll say this, my family and I joke about, going into Home Depot. We're trying to find someone with an orange apron nowadays because, hey, things are kind of slimmed down. People are cutting back on staff and all kinds of things. But I'll say one thing. There's only one store that connects with me regularly in a personal way, and it still is Nordstrom. I have one gal there, well, actually 2, but one that really does the best job ever. It's not, it's not over the top, but she will personally reach out about once a month and ask me, hey, how are you doing? We have this new blank in. I know that you like this line. What can I do for you? Now, ask me if that has ever ticked me off, irritated me, or anything. The answer is never in a million years. And by the way, I think I want to be like Tiffany. I want to be like Tiffany because Tiffany knows what's going on. And it makes me feel good. And of all the places that I'm a buyer, that is one person. That's it, that consistently reaches out to me. That is it. Do I get emails? Yeah. Do I get text messages for this or that? Yes. But I'm just here to say, I don't think that's enough. I don't think it's enough today. So what do you have?
What a powerful example, John. I think that speaks volumes, right? It really, really does. And, in our profession, especially, I think that, with the use of social media as well, people start to see others as just numbers and forget that, that friend, that follower is another quick example of like someone coming to me saying, well, Coach Fryer, I did a live video, but I only got 75 views. I'm like, that's 75 individual people who had an interest in listening or learning from you. I don't know about you, but that, right, put in perspective, 75 views on a Facebook Live might seem like, right? But imagine speaking to a room of 75 people. I mean, come on, put this in perspective. So I love that you just shared.
Right. Okay. Well, listen, Coach, I know you got to get going. I'm going to stay on just for a few minutes more and kind of wrap this up. But I want to thank you again, Brian, for taking your time and being here. And again, I dropped in the comments. It's coachfryer.com/CM. What did I write here? I got to make sure I got it.
CMS.
Yeah. So get onto that, because Brian is going to be talking about really how to reach that cold market and his top secrets. So awesome. Thank you always for being here. And thanks also for your mentorship and friendship, Bri.
For sure, John. Thanks so much for having me. Leader Lowdown, folks. Thanks again. Hope you guys got some value. See you soon.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Bye-bye. Okay, guys. Gosh, what a powerful half hour with Coach Fryer. I have learned a lot by just watching him and Rob and many of the incredible leaders in our industry. And I think it's really wise to follow and get in the circles of those kind of folks, because they know what's going on. They know how to be that person that leads with the heart. And, they're leading with their heart before they're offering their hand. I guarantee you that. So I want to take just a moment, and I want to say that if you're somebody that is, maybe you're stuck with some of your recruiting skills and you want a little bit more training and a little bit more one-on-one, I am going to be doing a call this coming Friday. So why don't you drop recruit in the chat, and I will reach out to you with a personal invitation to get on this call. We're going to really run through the steps of recruiting and unpack everything from your, connecting to, how to have an actual recruiting conversation, how to close with confidence, how to overcome the objective. Did I just say objectives? Objections, and how to feel confident when inviting the objections. And then I'll also show you some ways to transition through each one of the steps so that it feels comfortable and not awkward. All right, everybody, I want to thank you for joining the Leader Lowdown. I love you guys all so much. Have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.